How do we describe the beneficiaries of a program or project in a grant application? This is a very important question and something to spend the time to think about because the answer to this question will affect all sorts of things within your operation, including the surveying that you're doing pre and post intervention, and of course, how you develop your narratives around particular projects and programs in grant applications and in other funding requests. I'm Benjamin Dean from grantgetting.com. I hope you enjoy this video and the others like it on this channel aimed at helping you get more grants. We're going to cover 3 in this video tips of the best sort of practices of things to think about when you're defining your beneficiaries. There is a link in the description for 7 additional tips for you to think about and for you to implement in your grant writing and to some degree into your program evaluations. Okay, so the 3 most important points that I have are demographics, needs assessment, and defining outcomes. So we'll start with demographics. So this is the most common, the most ubiquitous, and because of that, the most important, I think, way in which you need to be able to describe your beneficiaries. Okay, so maybe even before we jump in that, what is a beneficiary? A beneficiary is typically the person or the group, or in some cases the animal, in some cases the environment, some cases the community, that has the most direct benefit because of your services. They are who, in your outcomes section of your logic model, they are the ones primarily that are having the change in knowledge or having the change in behavior. Okay, they are your direct beneficiaries. They are your those directly that are served most. Now, you in your program will have dozens of beneficiaries. If you sit and you think about it, there are dozens of people and groups of people and types of people that are impacted by the work that you do, right? Ultimately, you can make the case for everyone that's within a few degrees of separation from any of your direct beneficiaries are going to be also seeing some change in their life because of their interaction with your direct beneficiaries. But this question in a grant application, you want to be really clear on. You don't want to try to tell a funder that because of this program, every single human being that you look at is going to have a change in knowledge, a change in behavior. That's a little ridiculous. So we need to hone it down and say the most direct target market. Okay, so for whatever that is for you, that's usually those that you're directly serving. So number 1 is demographics. Funders want to know exactly who you are serving. And herein lies one of the many conflicts as nonprofit managers that we have. Funders want data. Nonprofits need to gain and establish and maintain trust with their clients. And generally speaking, there is a distrust that can occur if too much data is being collected without proper reciprocation or explanation to clients. If you are a grant writer uninvolved in program management, certainly if it's a direct service, you need to educate yourself a little bit more on this topic. And you can do that by just attending various events and service providers throughout your community to understand this. Now, the idea is the more trust that a nonprofit entity has with a population, a group of people, individuals within that group, then the more willing that group is to be able to sit down and fill out additional information, to provide additional information. This is a catch-22 because the more information that is being asked for by the nonprofit, the more will be expected by the client or by the neighbor or by the beneficiary. Okay, so it is always a balance. So just as a point of concern or point of, discussion between the grant writing team and the program management team is to always find that balance. and find unique and interesting and innovative ways to collect information without being so intrusive, and while also providing significant value on top of what is already being offered, if possible. Okay, but the main thing you're collecting is demographic data. That's the baseline data. And then we'll get to outcomes at the end, which is your change. So you want to define things like age, gender, income, the specific, area. Sometimes it's things like number of people in the household. Sometimes it's health-related items. It's the very basic information about that person or about that family. This gives your project specificity. It's really hard to write a grant with no demographic data. It is difficult. It is absolutely possible, but it does not make things easier. So, the example being, who do you serve? The answer, we serve at-risk youth. Well, if you had more information, you might be able to say, we serve 15 to 8-year-olds in low-income urban areas who face educational challenges, otherwise known as at-risk youth, right? So then furthermore, in the application, you can refer to at-risk youth because you've just defined it because you have that demographic data. Okay, the more detail that you provide, the easier it's going to be to support your project, or the easier it will be to visualize how this project will be implemented in the community. So that's the basis, demographic data, 6 or 7 items typically in that range, less than 10, that is the foundation that you can build a profile around for who it is that you serve. That's number one. Number two, when thinking about communicating who your beneficiaries are, maybe the next most important thing is, what are their needs? So we kind of got who they are, but what do they need, right? And so again, this is something that will continue to be more sophisticated as years go by in terms of what funders expect from a needs assessment. A strong needs assessment is key. You need to be able to demonstrate that you understand the challenges that your beneficiaries face. And there's a variety of ways to do that. You may have the benefit of your county or your municipality doing annual surveys that produce data on the environment, income, poverty levels, health-related items, age, all these other things. You might have a program or project that serves a big enough community where you can utilize fresh data provided by someone else in your community. That's great. If you have that, you need to take advantage of that for sure. There's also the opportunity to talk with other groups that are already collecting information from their target population. Is there a way you can get that anonymously and aggregated in a way where you don't need to see the individual outputs of that survey result? You just want to see the generalities that you can then use to say, this is the same target population we're looking at. This is third party. This is really important to spend some time there to find out what already exists. Okay, what are the needs assessments? Most counties, most health departments, health groups will produce a community health plan or a community health, needs assessment, or, some sort of intervention research that is being done, typically in conjunction or in partnership with a local university or community college. And that is typically done, at least every 10 years, maybe every 4 or 5 years, depending on the area. So there's a lot of stuff out there already, guaranteed. Wherever you live, there's something out there that you can start to pull pieces together to create that needs assessment. Okay. Now, you have some of that, maybe it's not enough, or maybe you want more. You need to think about that funders want to know why this project is necessary. Okay, and if you can't find enough evidence through third party, then you're going to need to think about how you survey yourself. Okay, what are the needs? Thinking about things like economic disparity, lack of services, are there underserved portions of the population? That's a very important topic, those that are underserved. This is your chance to show that you've done a lot of the homework. You have some data that you've collected, some that is third party, and even this is where you bring in qualitative data like testimonials that back up your need for the program. Okay, so you're utilizing a logic model or a business model canvas or other tools, but you have a proposed intervention to solve a problem in the community, and you need to be able to articulate that this need is real, right? That it actually exists. So you're going to use a combination of third-party data and first-party data. Okay, so that's number 2 in terms of your beneficiaries. You need to show that your beneficiaries need the services that you want to provide. Then number 3, as it comes to defining your beneficiaries, you've got who they are, you've got what they need that they've told you, not what you think, but what they've told you or others have told you. Number 3 is then the change. What is the change in knowledge? What is the change in behavior? What is the change that needs to occur as you describe this beneficiary group? This is what we would call defining your outcomes. This is one of the most crucial parts of how your project works. It is how your project will change. Now, this is, this is the theory of change, right? Like if there was nothing wrong, then there would need to be no change, right? So defining a beneficiary group as a group that has a collective problem or a situation within this definable group that has an opportunity to be improved, that is important to describe it in such a way. Okay, funders want to know what is going to be different as a result of their support. You want to be clear about what you expect to achieve, whether it's reducing unemployment, increasing educational attainment, or increasing health outcomes, improving health outcomes. These are measurable things that you want to be able to humanize. So the topic here is, how do you define your beneficiary group? If you define your beneficiary group using these 3 things, and these 3 things alone, this will be a great advantage for you in future conversations and in further parts of that grant application. Okay, if you think about your beneficiaries as demographics, as a group of people that have defined needs that you can point to as validated, and as those that would benefit from a particular set of outcomes that your program is designed to achieve, that's your beneficiary group. Okay, that's your primary beneficiary group. If you use those 3 things, you can layer in others. There's psychographics, there's plenty of other things, and there's a link in the description for other things to consider. But if you just use those 3, that will help you in defining your target market, your beneficiaries. It will also help you in delineating between primary beneficiaries and secondary beneficiaries, or sort of the concentric circle of impact that you have on the community within any group. Okay, these 3 are the most important, in my opinion. Okay, so check out that free guide. Hopefully this helps. There's comments below if you have questions about this topic. I would love to hear them and help out there as well. So thank you for jumping into this video, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.